Oh, welcome back to the channel. As you can see on my tabletop is the Dune Imperium board game. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So this is me basically telling you about it. I tried to come up with a catchy title, 3 reasons why you should buy Dune Imperium board game. But I just thought I'd talk about what I like about it. I picked this up at the end of December. Already I've played it 10 times. 7 solo, more on that in a wee bit. 3 with other people. Really enjoyed it. Plan to get a few more games in. And I will totally be picking up the supplement, The Rise of Ix, which is coming out shortly. So yeah, I went to see the movie. Loved the movie. And ended up going online and picking up a few Dune bits and bobs. Everything I could get my hands on. I really like Dune as a franchise. It's my favourite science fiction and fantasy setting. It's got everything I like. It's got politics, you know, the great houses politicking against each other. And then it takes it down to some gritty realism on the planet Arrakis and actually tells a story of the main characters and how they intersect with that. And the first book, Dune, sets up it's a hero story. But then after that, what we see is the hero's story subverted, and yeah, it goes off into all sorts of crazy, weird and wacky places. But anyway, let's talk about the Dune board game. So I don't know if you've heard much about the Dune Imperium board game, but it's a combination of worker placement, i.e. having some agents that you'll put on the board in certain places, spend resources to gain resources or just gain resources, combined with deck building. So what does that look like? So I'll move this. This is a game me and my friend finished playing last night, and just as I was going to tidy it up, I thought this is a great place to maybe stop and do this video about it and highlight some of the things. So straight away, what you'll see is the agents, okay, and the sections on the board. So every section will have a cost but a reward. So for example, if we went to the Great Flat, it will cost us 2 water, so there's 3 resources in the game: water, spice or Solari money. So 2 water, but again 3 spice and extra spice if it's built up. So that's pretty simple. The next bit is a combat. So as the game turn progresses, if you've got blocks on the board, this will allow you to put either blocks into your garrison, so they're not fighting this turn, but they can for another, or in this case I've got 2 blocks, I can pop them straight into combat. Sometimes if you've got that sword icon, like we have here, I could put up to 2 troops from my garrison into combat. I'd only have 1 there, so that would be that. If you look at rally troops at the top there, there's no sword icon there, so if you rallied your troops, you will put 4 into your garrison. At the end of the turn, each one of these is worth 2. And then there are cards, which would give you extra sword icons to add extra strength to it. And you're fighting over a conflict card. The winner, the person with the highest strength, gains the top award. The second place gains a second. If you're playing 4 players, the third place will get that. If you're not playing with 4 players, then you wouldn't worry about that third place. And what I really like about that is I'm not deliberately targeting somebody, their resources. It changes the tone of the game quite a bit. And there's not a lot of cards that I've come across so far. Well, there's no cards that come across your physical resources that you built up, your water, your spice or your Solari. There is a couple of cards I've seen which forces an opponent to discard a card, and that's quite refreshing to see. So you're actually building up your plans and your plots, and you're not going to get picked on by another player directly. So what else is happening? So yeah, worker placements, as it says. Now to place your workers, you will have a deck of cards, and it starts off with pretty tame cards, but you'll build them up. So here's a hand of cards that my opponent had at the end. The symbols up the side here tells you where you can go. So if you look at these, for example, Dune the desert planet, any of the yellow triangles, you're able to play that card and put your agent there. If you have where you're placing the agents, you'd activate whatever's in this grey text as well. So if I played this one, I'd get myself 2 spice. So when you're building your deck, and I'll come to how you build your deck in a minute, you're looking at the icons you need and special effects. And there are ways to take cards out your deck. So you probably want to take cards out your deck. and add different cards in to support your strategy for the game. Up the side here, you'll have the various Imperial factions, or the Emperor, the Spacing Guild, the Bene Gesserit, and the Fremen. And to go there, you'd have to play a relevant symbol there. There you go. For example, that one there, Bene Gesserit card. And with this as well, when you play that card, you'd go to one of the two sections. So you go there. That would also push your cube up one. When you hit there, you gain a victory point. When you hit there, you gain an alliance. You also gain a wee bonus as well. So that's the worker placement element in a nutshell. You're going to start off with 2 agents. There are ways to increase it to a 3rd, which is your Sword Master one, which is a 1 up there. And every so often, you can buy a Mentat, which gives you an extra action as well. And there's a few other cards which can swap around your agents on the board. Card building. Once your agents have done, what you would then have is your reveal phase. Now you always have, if you look at the very top of the board, there's like 5 agent cards out. You always have 5 agent cards out. In your reveal phase, what you would do is add up your, see the blue diamonds, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would mean I would have 5 influence to buy cards from across the top. You see in the top right hand corner how much each one costs. So if we look at this one, I've got 5 influence. So if I wanted to buy one of the best cards off the shelf there, got my choice to pick either Elite Kings or a Sardaukar Legion, and that will go into my deck. And that's why card trashing is important. And there's ways to trash your cards, like for example, if you go there, you trash your card and draw 2 cards. Card trashing is important. So you're going to take out those cards with less utility, so you're drawing cards which have always got better utility. So there you go. That's the game in a nutshell. You've got 10 combats. The middle combats are random pick, so you don't quite know what's going to happen, and it's all shuffled up. So the game's going to have 10 turns, or if somebody storms ahead, whenever somebody gets to 10 victory points, that triggers the kind of end game where we're thinking about who's going to win. The other thing I really like about the Dune game is it's based on the movie. So if we look through the artwork, it's very much tied to the new movie, and the characters are very much characters from the movie. So Gurney Halleck there, for example, Dr. Wellington Yueh, Peter De Veers, Duncan Idaho. But actually, even above them, the artwork is really nice and evocative of the feel of the movie. Now, I love the 1984 feel and the look of the 1984 movie, but also love this one as well. Something perhaps a bit more epic about it. And who do you pick? So there are, in the starter game, core game, you can play from one of 4 houses. There's Vladimir Harkonnen, House Harkonnen. It's also Raban. Raban was in play. His card's over there. House Torvald, Atreides, the Duke and Paul are playable, and Raichis, which is, I believe, if I remember correctly, these were the people that held Arrakis before it was handed over to Harkonnens. And what is really interesting is if you look at after the names, they've got like we star, so Paul Atreides, level 1, which means he's a simpler character to play, so his special rules will come into effect more often, whereas the more stars they've got, the harder their strategies become. So there you go. 2 and Vladimir Harkonnen's 3. And often this scheme happens whenever your signet ring symbol comes up, and there's often the lower ones, something just happens, whereas the higher ones, you might have to pay something to do something, therefore they don't get used as much. Solo play is really interesting. So there is our House Hagel deck, and what happens here is when it's the solo player's agent, when it's the artificial intelligence house to go, you'll reveal one of this, and that is where their agent will go. Don't have to pay any costs associated with it, and they don't get all the benefits, but they do get some of the benefits. Then in the combat phase, you also flip over this, and if there's any sword icons in there, they get a bonus to the combat. The other thing with AI starts off with 2 agents, and after a set amount of turns, then they'll get their 3rd agent automatically. They don't need to worry about paying for it. And finally, there is a set of intrigue cards, because there's no dice in the game. It's either my workers there and I'll do X to get Y, or we add up the strengths in combat. But you do get intrigue cards, so you can earn intrigue cards. So for example, if you went here to secrets, you would be able to get an intrigue card. And what you might have is cards you can play in combat, which adds extra strength. So cubes are worth 2 in combat, these are worth 1 in combat, or other ways. So plot here, you can increase your influence with Fremen by 1, for example, which changes up the game, allows you to adapt and change some strategies as well. So there you go, that's a quick overview of the Dune board game. I really enjoy it. I think I said that at the start. Everybody I've played it with so far has really enjoyed it. I've only played 2 players, which has a 3rd AI. So if you're on your own, you have 2 AI houses. If you have 2 players, you have 1 AI house. If you have 3 players, you have 3 players. If you have 4 players, you have 4 players. You don't have an AI taking it up to 4 if you have 3 players. Although I suppose you could do. I've played it maybe 6 or 7 times solo now. I've won 3 times against the AI. And what there is a way to increase the difficulty of that as well. So I am slowly increasing the difficulty as I'm playing the AI to get more of a challenge. And with the difficulty as well, I've given players who play the first time with us, I've given them a kind of easier set and an easier start than I've taken as well. Gets really interesting with more players, more placing of agents. I think 4 players would be really good at this. And yeah, so I've been inspired actually talking through it to maybe do a bit of a playthrough of a solo play. I have to set up on a different table where I can kind of lay things out a bit better than this. Do a bit of a solo playthrough and show it off as well in all its glory. But anyway, I hope you're having a great time with your hobby at the moment. I know I certainly am. Tons of stuff happening. And I look forward to catching you again. If you play Dune Imperium, give us a shout out and let us know what you think. And if you've got any questions, again, stick them in the comment sections and let us, I'll see if I can answer them. But anyway, you have a great time. I'll catch you again. Bye-bye.